Hello race fans and welcome to wonderful Watkins Glen, where we are in the middle of the third round of the Apex Racing League GT Championship live from Watkins Glen, New York. My name is Peter Mackay and joining me in the commentary box this evening is Andrew Thompson. And, well, first of all, apologies, a couple of little technical issues to figure out on our side here, but we're back with live pictures and a little bit of an update so far. Kenny Rosen's from pole position, leading away very confidently, but his teammate Amaury Bond, well, on the way and has actually split the two course and racing cars. Now, for regular viewers of the Apex Racing League GT Trophy, you'll notice going, those core cars, those used to be Audis. They've morphed into BMWs. Well, with the arrival of the brand new Porsche 911 GT3R, all of the competitors have been given one free car swap should they wish to. So a few of the drivers switching to that new Porsche, but Andrew, Corson Racing, they've left the Audi in the garage and picked out the BMW.
Yeah, so I think extensive practice has been done during the week 13 down week. And obviously they found that the BMW is a lot faster, a lot consistent than what the Audi is, which seems to be certainly paying off for them because they're certainly at the front of this grid at the moment.
They are, yes indeed. It is absolutely BMW domination at the front of this motor race. The BMW M4 GT3, which will make its competitive debut in just a couple of weeks' time at the Nürburgring in the NLS series, and I, for one, can't wait to see how it gets on. It's certainly fantastic to drive at the Nürburgring in the virtual format. I'm sure it will transfer over to the sim world. Been a quiet day so far for Gaten Anger, the defending champion. He's been right up the front of the field all season long, Andrew, but down in 10th so far.
Yes, I mean, obviously from last season I raced in the GT Trophy myself, so Gaten Anger was well a class leader in that. He was run every race and he run it by a country mile. I think this season a lot more competitive drivers in and he seems to be struggling at the moment, obviously in 9th place, so he's in uncharted territory where he currently normally is, so he's going to have to try and fight his way up for the field, but it's nice to see something other than the BMW in the top 10.
Yes, quite so. Gaten back in his very familiar Lamborghini Huracan GT3, a wonderful machine, 5.2 litre V10 mounted right in the middle of the car. Much more an exotic supercar that you might see parked outside your local Premiership football club, whereas the BMW more something you would find parked outside your local golf club.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. But the Porsche looks amazing. You know, nice new car for iRacing. I'm quite surprised there's not a few more Porsches than what there is in this race. But you know, it's nice to see there's a split mix and not everybody going for the new Porsche. People staying with their current selection. Obviously, the diehards within the field, and then you got the others just looking at what the fastest car. But you obviously heard there on the stream the BMW roaring past. It sounds like a bit of a beast.
It is, yeah, twin turbocharged engine at the front of the car. Riding on board with Peter Sickar, our AM class leader. Now he's in one of the relics of the GT3 field, a McLaren MP412C, the first ever road car that the new era of McLaren produced. Let's see what kind of speed it's got against these pair of Porsches. In front we've got Dominique Engel on the right hand side, and we've got the 173 Brevstad on the left. Braking hard for the bus stop. It's a really tricky part. Oh my goodness me. Big lunge there from Sickar. Absolutely fearless. And Andrew, I think that caught Dominic Engel by surprise. I think he looked in his mirror going, you are crazy. Come on by, sir.
Yeah, definitely. That bus stop is a heart in the mouth moment when you've got 2 wide or even 3 wide, as I've seen in some of the series, you know, but it's really good that these leagues actually give each other space, you know, and don't just take each other out in that corner. But that was a very nice lunge move on the inside that made to go out, because that's probably the most important corner that you can get a slowdown penalty. You touch the grass coming off out of the second bend on that corner, and that's the biggest chance of getting the slowdown penalty. And that slowdown penalty, although only a second long in this race, where that is a really fast corner going into the outer loop, which is a 4th gear flat out near enough, it loses you a lot of time coming off that corner. So a very brave move, and he pulled that off really well there.
That he did, yeah, very brave move indeed. So Kenny Rosen's really asking a lot of questions of his rivals at the moment at the front of the pack. Fastest lap of the race for the Belgian out front. The gap now up to 1.5 seconds, and that's critical because here at Watkins Glen, a lot of very, very fast parts of the circuit, so the draft is important. And here comes Bondwell now. He's going to try and get past Newman. He barges by, and that will really slow both of them now. This is Merry Christmas for Kenny Rosens, and all of a sudden, 0.6 of a second stretches out. It was 1.5, 500 metres later, it's 2.2 seconds, and Newman really trying to fight back and trying to keep Bondwell at bay. Pascal Stix is in there too, watching all of this going on. And watch out for McCone in the Altus Esports Lamborghini as well, who's the, should we say, best of the rest in the non-BMW Cup.
Yeah, that was obviously played right into Kenny Rosen's hands there. Like you said, gaining 0.6 of a second due to second and third trying to fight it out behind him. But yeah, there's a bit of a gap between first and second. Third and fourth are all quite close, and a little bit of a gap to fifth place. So it's certainly spread the field out, and they keep battling like this. They're just going to let Kenny get away, and you need to be aware of that and try and work together a bit more on this fast circuit. Slipstream each other and gain the speed back on Kenny in front of them, because obviously Kenny hasn't got any slipstream. So that's what they need to be doing now. But it certainly looks like they're going the other way and deciding they want to battle it out.
Well, at the moment, all relatively peaceful. Any battles on track are relatively serene. There is changes of position, but no argy-bargy as yet. But one particular race back in the Grand Am days, back in the 1990s, Wayne Taylor of Wayne Taylor Racing fame, he's not driving anymore, but used to, in some amazing race cars, and he actually had an incident on track where he was so upset with James Weaver's conduct that he tried to stab him with his third place trophy.
Okay.
That was here at Watkins Glen.
Oh, this is a great track. I love this track. It's probably my favourite track on iRacing. Sweeping fast bends, really close racing on the course, and looks like we're being treated to a very fine battle here at the moment with Bondell and Newman, with Stix just hanging on the side there, and just going to pick up the pieces if those two decide to hit themselves.
This is interesting. Danny Lee, of course, a front runner in the ARLGT Championship. 17th spot right now, decided to stick with the Mercedes. Now watch out, Jonathan Poulet here in the Lamborghini. Whoa! Just gets himself a little bit tangled up there. Not like the Frenchman there, and managed, or Belgian, sorry, my apologies. Probably speaks French though. In fact, has to rejoin again. That was a slightly strange one. Of course, mid-engine car with quite a lot of weight in the middle of the car can twitch sometimes and can just sometimes catch you out a little bit, but I have to echo your sentiments about this track. You speak to you speak to a lot of top drivers, and they all talk about Watkins Glen and how wonderful it is, and it's such a fast circuit, especially with these GT3 cars, which have got reasonable amounts of aerodynamic grip. You really do get high cornering speeds in them. But I do have a slightly different reason for it being my favourite, Andrew, because this is where the first ever Scotsman won Formula 1 Grand Prix, was here at Watkins Glen back in 1961. A certain Innes Ireland, a former Rolls-Royce engineer and paratrooper.
Yeah, we haven't got many of them. The Scotsman's winning the F1. Coulthard as well, I think.
No, it's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been a while. So you cling on to them little nuggets there, Pete.
Well, you have to. When you're Scottish, you have to hang on to everything. Who won the 1997 Open Golf Championship? Oh, Laurie. Beating Jean Van de Velde when he got in his socks and went into the burn. It's like, how long ago was that? 24 years ago. Still, it's like it was yesterday.
Definitely, but as we saw there with Poulet going into that corner, I think what happens is that corner it comes on you really quickly, because you're coming up the Essex, going down the back straight, and obviously that corner jumps on you, and it's really late braking. If you over brake and go in too late, we see what Jonathan did there, and he overcommitted to the corner and literally couldn't hit that apex of that first corner, hit the grass, and obviously that pushed his car out. He was lucky not to spin there, Pete, but that was a classic example of trying to go into the corner too deep to get the position.
Yeah, you've got a little bit gathered up. You're coming in there at such high speed, and when you rattle down the gearbox, sometimes you rattle down too quickly. It can upset the car slightly, so it's a bit of a balancing act. Looking at Aaron Smith on screen right now in the number 242 Lamborghini Huracan. Aaron, one of the real stars of the AM classes here in the ARL GT paddock. We see him in prototypes, we see him in the GTs, and we also see him in F3 as well, where he's been really impressive as well. So Aaron is, and normally, I don't know if he's got it on today, but normally he's got a Damon Hill replica helmet on. How's Aaron?
Yeah, he's a very fast driver. Obviously, I was driving with him in the first series, using the first year as well. And I think a little bit late, or I think he had a terrible start. But towards the end of the season, he was one of the front runners in the AM, and he's obviously continuing that here today. Obviously a little bit further down, and normally fighting with Tom Bingham in front of him, and that was the usual battle for round season 1 of the Apex GT Trophy. So you had Bingham and Smith fighting out, and yet again we've got them fighting out on Watkins Glen in season 2. So great watch.
Do indeed, and of course Tom Bingham, clearly one of the connoisseurs of the championship, because he's chosen the beautiful Porsche 911 GT3R, the shiniest toy in the toy box. So that is iRacing at the moment. Just came out last week, but of course the car has been in competition for quite some time and had one of its greatest victories of recent times. Of course, it's been a very successful season for that car, winning at the 24 Hours of Nürburgring, but also in class at the 12 Hours of Sebring, which is for the last 2 occasions. So it's been very, very successful in competition. Of course, winner at Spa the last 2 years in the 24-hour race, so it knows how to win endurance races, does the Porsche 911 GT3R. Quite unique because the engine is mounted right in the back of the car, 4-litre engine, so it's quite a heavy engine, and therefore it gives it quite unique handling characteristics. But naturally aspirated and no turbo, about 500 horsepower. Oh, is Hakan Grebstad getting a little bit tasty there, going through the penultimate bend, but manages to gather it all up. That's fast through there. But back at the front, Andy, it's a Valkyrie Esports 1-2, but Bondswell, 3.5 seconds back from his teammate, has still got the attention of Sven Newman.
Yeah, so as we can see, the gap is starting to slightly increase to the second and third place, obviously in different teams. So they're battling out quite hard, which is obviously, as I said before, playing into Kenny's hands, because he's now been able to stretch a lead well out of slipstream range now, and he's just going off into the distance. But interesting racing in second, third, fourth and fifth there, as you can see, all quite close to each other. So any slight mistake and you could find yourself from second place all the way down to fifth place.
You can really see there a couple of laps ago the difference when Amaury Bondswell was battling with Sven Newman, and yeah, 2.5 seconds went by just in those 2 laps, and the gap is only 3.5 seconds, so that gives you an impression of just how costly that little battle was for Amaury Bondswell and how helpful it was for Kenny Rosens. Of course, both I think it's going to be a fascinating dynamic as the season progresses, Andy, because of course the Amaury Bondswell and Kenny Rosens are both teammates in the Valkyrie outfit who have really come into the series and shaken up the order, but they're both got a very much a 50-50 chance of winning the championship. They're definitely the 2 favourites. I wonder what the dynamic's going to be like when we get to the final round.
Yeah, for sure. Whether it's team orders that obviously Kenny or one of them gets the other one gets the nod to go ahead. I suppose it all comes down to talking to themselves and seeing the likelihood of one of them to win the race than the other. Certainly, if they're close to one of their rivals, if it's quite close, you may see sort of team orders in place trying to get in between the main leader and obviously the main protagonist that may be in second place. So it depends, exactly like you say, it depends what happens for the rest of the season as to what happens during that last round, really.
Well, we will have all the action for you here live on Apex Racing TV every Tuesday at 7 p.m. GMT. Now, coming back to Danny Lee in 15th position right now, runs right up the very sharp end of the ARL GT Championship, which uses the slightly bigger brother of these cars, the GTE specification. He's driving a Corvette this season, which is very, very cool. And very nearly won the championship in a Porsche last season. But what's interesting, Andy, is that Danny is chosen the Mercedes AMG GT, a real rumbling monster with a 6.2 litre V8 in the front of the car, naturally aspirated as well, and it's a big old wally old Hector, that car. But what's interesting, even with, hasn't had the results I would normally expect of Danny, because he's so fast. I'm surprised he hasn't changed and swapped away from the Mercedes, but he's staying loyal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's racing for performance in car parts, so he's a part of the team that I am. So I have seen him in the chat saying the car's actually quite good. He feels confident in this car. He's had unfortunate incidences in the first couple of rounds that have affected his races, and it's probably happened again today somewhere during the beginning half of this race. But he likes the car. He feels it's planted, and he says he enjoys racing it. He doesn't really get the opportunity to race this car that often, so I think that's the reason why he chose it and stuck with it.
See, so it's not because Performance Line car parts sell Mercedes car parts. Not a reason.
It may be that, I don't know yet.
They do, but not exclusively. Now look, we're getting, Danny's did a great job as a rear gunner cameraman here, because there's a side-by-side moment between Haycox and Brandt as they go into the bus stop. Oh, Haycox just shuts the door in time in that Lamborghini. Anything like that Lamborghini Huracan. I remember there's a Rolls Royce dealer in Edinburgh, and it only does Rolls Royces now, but it used to do Rolls Royce and kind of assorted prestige would be maybe the best way to describe it. One day, I'm normally not a Lamborghini guy, mainly because you can't get a manual gearbox these days. But anyway, they had the Performante, Huracan Performante convertible in red with all the carbon bits hanging off it. And I have to say, like I say, not a Lamborghini guy, but this car was, talk about presence. Oh my word. I mean, I think, well, I would do quite unsavoury things to have a car like that.
It looks, it's like that little squatted British Bulldog, isn't it? It's got a real aggressive stance to the car, but very, very sleek as well, and it's got a really nice engine tone when you drive it. I drove it last year as well. I love the car, nice, well planted, and it seems to be like a mid-range car, so it's quite quick on the straights, but also not too bad in the corners, where you see the other cars like the BMW really fast in the straights, slightly compromised in the tight twisty parts. And then you have the Porsche, which is on the straights it's not good. It's very much like the BM, but it's a role reversal in that the Porsche is very good around the tight twisty part. So I think the Lamborghini is a very good compromise to an overall rounder for a car.
Yeah, I always find that with the Lamborghini Huracan GT3, it particularly on the iRacing platform, a really, really good all-rounder. The car has been so successful in the IMSA Championship, the winner of the Rolex 24-hour Daytona 3 years running. And that is not a race you win with a slow race car, that is for sure. Looking at Mick Pallich right now, who has indeed chosen. So that's interesting. That no, he's in the BMW as well. But we do have one of the Corson racing cars is a Porsche. I think that's Dominic Engel who's chosen to go with the Porsche and ditch the Audi as the rest of his course. Yes, indeed, his Corson racing colleagues. So that's quite fascinating there, Andy. That the Corson racing, they've got strength in numbers and they're splitting their strategy. They're spreading their bets.
Yeah, it's also a bit strange for setup as well, because obviously as a team you would get together, tweak little bits, try and get these up. But if you've got a split setup of cars across your team, then obviously you're not spending all your time on the setup on one car, so you're spreading the load on the setup. So it could compromise the overall setups of the car, really.
Indeed. Big hello to Bobby Childs, who's watching on the YouTube stream here on Apex Racing TV. Thank you to all for tuning in to this broadcast of the Apex Racing League GT Trophy. As a crowd, Pascal Sticks and Luke McCohen are off at the bus stop, and Sticks looks like he's driving over to have a word. Let's have a look and see how this one happened. So Sticks on the inside, McCohen on the outside. Looked like McCohen just got his nose in front, and they just come together at just the same moment. And off they go into the barrier. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's taken two real important protagonists out of this leading battle and caused quite a split. And yet again, Andy, yet again, this is playing into Gaten Anger's hands. He's just slowly but surely chipping his way through the field.
Yeah, I think this happened on the last round as well. I think Gaten Anger was quite far back, but obviously the issues with the drivers in front of them battling, he just picks up. One thing that Gaten is a very consistent driver. You very rarely see him make a mistake. He's very metronomic in the way he attacks his lines. You could watch him every lap, and you would say you're watching the same lap on replay a lot of the times. Another great incident going 2x2 into the inner loop. And that's how it should be done, the guys. But you could see that sort of battle before coming, and you could see that maybe there would have been an instance, because many a time coming on that inner loop, they were battling it out and two cars wide. Unfortunately, the car on the outside, which I think was Styx, was he cut across too early to try and get that inside corner, because he was going in quite deep, and obviously hit the back end of his rival there, and unfortunately they both spun. So. This small little incidents are big losses within a race like this. It's only an hour long.
So a lot of cars coming down onto pit lane now. A 60-minute race. The drivers have a limited fuel cell, so they have roughly about 40 minutes of fuel, no more than that. So they need to come in and take a mandatory pit stop, splash up, and then get back going again. So coming back to just before we had that incident, Bobby Childs asks, what is the manufacturer breakdown? I tell you what, Bobby, what we'll do is we'll wait till all the drivers have taken their pit stops, which should shuffle out in the next couple of laps, and then we'll have an update, because in short, BMW are making everyone look a bit silly right now. It's the answer, but we will do a longer rundown of that, as the order is very much jumbled up now, with many of the drivers going to pit lane. No tyres required, Andy. These GT3s are pretty kind on their tyres. They shouldn't need to worry too much about that. Maybe a little bit of drop off in the last 10 minutes or so, but no need to take the extra time to fit tyres.
No, definitely not. 60 minutes is just about the right amount of time in these cars to make the tyres last the full time. So I would not expect anybody to be taking tyres with a pit stop. Normally take about 30 litres just to get them to the end of the race, and that's about it. So it's looking around about a 31, 32 second pit stop time from going into pit. So a bit wide there. I was back marker getting out of the way. So good work there from that back marker getting out of the way of the battle here of 20th place. Yeah, no, that's the answer there. Just have a quick look. We've got 10 BMWs in the top 13 cars currently around track.
Yeah, and I think that will... now, thanks to our wonderful producer, Mark Tranter, you'll see all of the logos there, and isn't there some of the best marks in the world there? The blue and white kind of aeroplane design of the BMW Bavaria Motor Works. It used to actually be called EMW, the IBAC Motorworks, which was actually in East Germany, and then they moved to Bavaria, to Munich after that. Lamborghini, of course, from near Bologna, and Sant'Agata di Bologna, and then of course Porsche, made in Weissach at the motorsport department there, and of course Mercedes from Stuttgart as well. So all the big German manufacturers being represented, and of course, last but not least, the red arrow of McLaren of Woking.
Nice to see the McLaren on the field. It's a lonely figure going around the track, pretty much like me in the GT Challenge last year when I was even driving the Ford. But I thought I'd fly the Ford flag for the last 5 rounds in that round. So yeah. It's good to see Peter Skidder flying the McLaren flag in the GT trophy, but yeah, it seems to be that the dominance seems to be with BMW, certainly in this round, and I would expect it to be anyway, Pete, because it's a very fast track with not that many tight corners, so you would expect the grunt of that BMW to be sort of commanding this race a bit, but it's good to see the Lamborghini and the Porsche within the top 5, so breaking up that BMW dominance.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the Lamborghini is probably the best corner speed car in the field. You can really carry a lot of speed in that car, but probably the slowest on the straights. BMW, kind of the opposite, very fast in a straight line, decent enough in the corners, so that makes it a pretty formidable weapon. I think you're right, there's virtually no slow corners here at Watkins Glen. So we head off to the rest of the championship. I think that's where, particularly slow corners, big accelerations off slow corners, that's Porsche country. I think that's where the 911s will really come into their own. So now that the pit stops have kind of shaken out, Kenny Rosen's leads by just under 4 seconds from his teammate Amaury Bondwell, and Kenny Rosen's fastest lap 1:45.72 and 1:46.0 the best for Bondwell, and of course Sven Newman in there as well. My apologies, I'm forgetting Sven, who's 4 seconds back now too. It is mighty impressive. And the pit stop times, that's interesting, Andy. Newman being a little bit lighter on the gas, obviously.
Yeah, because I mean, if you saw, he was around about 4 to 5 seconds ahead of Roosens before the pit stop, but obviously due to that shorter pit, he's actually at 4 seconds, so he did take some time out of him. We'll have to see if Sven's calculated it correctly and got enough fuel to get into the end, because I think that is the sacre bleu of iRacing, is if you run out of fuel on the last lap because you miscalculated your fuel intake, and we've seen that a few times.
Yes, we certainly have. So 20 minutes to go in this motor race. Who's going to come out on top? At the moment, Kenny Rosen's looking so strong, but he quietly has come out unstuck in the later part of the races before. I'm thinking back to Hockenheim, which was a real horror. I think Kenny could have done. Oh, and it's a little side-by-side hip check there. Brandt goes by, Haycock spins. Haycock straddled across the road there on the third to last corner. It's almost as if this circuit here, Andy, they ran out of corner names, because the last 3 corners don't really have a name. All the rest do. The last 3 are sort of just left blank.
Yeah, I think they ran out of body parts, I think,
yes.
The track. Certainly on that
nose.
One, yeah, it could have been the nose, yeah. Just a bit of nose. It could have been the ankle or the thigh, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, certainly looked like they ran out. Yeah, definitely. One up the body parts. Yeah. No, that corner there is really, it's quite a fine line going through that corner to get an exit out onto this corner before this very fast 4th gear left-hander before you go into the last corner for the start-finish at turn 11. So it is quite critical that you get that line around turn 9 correctly, and obviously, as we saw there, 2 cars going too wide into that corner. One of the cars will always get pushed out wide, and what you don't want to be doing is on the exit of that corner is getting your wheel on that grass, because that's where we'll see the cars spin around, and we saw that on Sunday in the GT, that a car spun around and forced absolutely a 4-car pile-up on the last lap, and I think it was one of the front runners actually.
Indeed, it was. It was Kenny Rosen got a triangle at Hockenheim with a back marker as Jason Hodgson goes flying by in the Lamborghini number 273 up towards the bus stop, which was put in here in 1975 when Formula One still came to Watkins Glen, and it was put in there to slow things down because it was just getting a little bit silly. And of course, the boot section, the kind of extended part of Watkins Glen, put in 1971 to extend the circuit out to a proper length. But of course, the boot section not used when the NASCAR guys come here. And I tell you what, Jeff Gordon, who doesn't love Jeff Gordon? Jeff Gordon won here 4 times in 5 years. It was very much his private game reserve back in his days in the DuPont number 24 car.
Yeah, the inner loop. You stole my thunder there, because I thought you was going to give me a little in to say, yeah, that was put there to slow the cars down, but you stole my thunder there, Peter. I'll let you off on that one. Being a wealth of knowledge that you are.
It's like we've turned up to the party in the same shirt. I'm sorry. We should have pre-coordinated this as well. Yeah. It's definitely a driver's circuit. Scott Dixon's won here 4 times. Jim Clark won here 3 times. João Barbosa 4 times. Derek Bell 5 times. It's an amazing circuit. And this was actually where Hurley Haywood had his first professional motor race, where he won in a 911 with Peter Gregg and went on to win the 6 Hours of the Glen 8 times. Juan Manuel Calleja, I will get his name right eventually. Proste better, por favor. Nada. Hangs on. Why? Yeah, a little bit. When it comes to ordering food or drink, usually I'd make sure I've got the basics right. Juan Manuel Calleja. My lovely fiancée Lucy, she speaks fluent Spanish, so she would be correcting me right now to make sure I was saying it correctly. I believe a double L is like a y sound.
Yeah. I'm sure on that one. I don't know. I'm not very proficient at Spanish. You know, I just barely get the English language down. I think. I'm looking at the timing charts for the big movers during this race, and the biggest mover is the second place AM driver at the moment, Josh Wiggins, up 24 places from where he starts. So he's had a phenomenal race at the moment, taking second place at the moment in the AM category, and he's just behind the first place as well. Yeah, I mean, it's phenomenal. 24 places. Then you've got Aaron Smith, who's fighting it out with Tom Bingham, up 19 places. So some really big movers in this race, and the biggest one on the pro is, as we all know, Gaten Anger, up 12 places since the start. So phenomenal effort there from the guys.
I think that is just classic Gaten Anger, is it? Even when it's a day which just isn't necessarily going his way, he maximises every possible opportunity that he's got. Do you know what he reminds me of? I think he's the Colin Turkington of ARL GT Trophy.
Yeah, very, very metronomic about what he does. And big off there by, who was that?
One of the Porsches.
Porsches, what was that? Wow, that was a big crash coming out of the inner loop. Seemed like he lost his steering there or something, because he hit that wall literally straight on us. So it was Angel Pedro.
Angel Pedrero, what's happened to him? Nitro Racing Team, really a Spanish outfit. Oh, I think you're spot on there, Andy. Yeah. Oh no! Oh, that's every sim racer's nightmare. Oh dear. Well, if it's any crumb of comfort, Tom Chilton did that at the weekend at Snetterton.
I don't think it is to the person that he accidentally hit. I don't think that's a crumb of comfort at the moment, Pete, for him, because that probably cost him a lot of speed, because he'll have a lot of damage on that car, because he certainly hit that car. I'm surprised he didn't spin off himself, but it was a right T-bone, I think, on that one.
T-bone, yeah, it was nowhere to go, and you're carrying a lot of speed through that bus stop, a lot more than it looks. Yeah, that would have been not quite terminal, but very, very severe damage as well. As Dominic Engel battling away with Dean Powell, and Engel just carrying that little bit more corner speed there as well. As Porsche's got fantastic mid-corner speed, very, very fast. But here comes the big Mercedes. Here comes the Alphabach missile, and you can just hear it thrumming around. 6.2 litres of German muscle. Up to the bus stop they go, and DDP, Andy. Dominic Engel shutting the door at the last moment there. That was up the fierce end of the scale. So 13 and a half minutes to go here at Watkins Glen. Can anybody stop Kenny Rosens? It looks like not, but Sven Newman has played a blinder of strategy here, Andy, where he's those 2 seconds in the pit lane have proved to be critical.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, his gap now is 6 seconds, Rosen, so he's actually stretching out the gap. I think the back markers are probably coming into effect now, and if Kenny's hitting the back markers at the right place where he gets some slipstream off them, but it's not compromising his corner speed, and maybe Sven's actually getting that, because they seem to have been creeping up lap after lap, so certainly the back markers are playing their part in this race to give Kenny the win. I think it looks at the moment, you know, as long as he keeps it clean now with such a short amount of time to go, then it's going to take something metronomic from Newman to pull back that 6 second gap.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big ask now, but I think Sven Newman, he'll be pretty chuffed with second place when coming into the pit lane behind Bondwell, and beating him on the strategy, beating him on the fuel usage. Of course, if you sit at the back in a pack and let the car at the front do the heavy lifting, you can just have that little bit less throttle input lap per lap, and that adds up over a whole stint. Of course, here on the iRacing simulator, the fuel usage is simulated only by the throttle input and the revs that come from that throttle input. If you change up early, or don't rev out every last rev in the box, that doesn't matter. You can change gear when you like. It doesn't make a difference to the fuel consumption, but the lifting and coasting and the lack of throttle usage does. So Sven Newman obviously playing that one very, very well. You've got Tom Dadswell in the BMW. The Dadswell and Tom's race is going well too.
Yeah, definitely. It's the front three have actually got a little bit of gap between them, so they've got some space between first, second, and third, and fourth. So there's a bit of a gap. There's a bit of a tight battle between fifth and sixth. And then we get down to this race for 8th, 9th and 10th, where they're all quite close. Oh, a big spin there by Tom coming into the last one. Oh, he saves it excellently. He's got to be confident, watch himself going on the inside there, because he's that slow on the racing line, but managed to keep it. And obviously the driver behind him, Sticks, did very well to avoid him there for sure.
Oh, that must have been very, very close for Pascal Sticks there to not plough into the back of Tom Dadswell, who did very, very well to keep that car out of the barrier, because it was gone, and he got it back again. The traction control lights, they would have been like Blackpool illuminations going up as well. The ABS, the traction control, everything would be going, trying to you can imagine the little boss brain of the car trying to keep the thing in a straight line.
Yeah, definitely. He done excellently to keep it though, because it's so easy to spin that. And obviously what you've got to be aware of at that last corner, because you're going around it at such a speed, is that the wall on the left-hand side, which you scrape under normal conditions, if you're spinning, you're lucky not to hit that wall and damage your car. But done an excellent job there, got on the brakes, and luckily Sticks behind him was on his toes to make sure he didn't hit him going down to the start-finish straight.
Yeah, very good evasive action, I would say, from Pascal Sticks. Now this warms my heart. Leon Penn, Scotsman, in the leading Porsche in 5th at the moment, the number 130 car, channeling his inner Alan McNish.
I wonder who you're rooting for, Pete.
I'm completely impartial, absolutely impartial. No, I am. I really am. But it would be nice. It would be nice. Well, it's more actually. It's the leading Porsche. It's great to see the new toys coming out and being competitive, because it's not always the case where a car comes out brand new and it doesn't always hit the front of the field straight away, especially at this level, because it takes time to dial these cars in and get those magic setups.
Yeah, for sure. And you have a couple of iterations between iRacing to try and get the car right and get the balance right, but it seems like they've got the balance straight from the off on this car. So like you say, it's good to see a Porsche. Obviously, you can see the power of the BMW coming up the back straight there, obviously undercutting the Porsche going into the inner loop. But now this is where the Porsche should start coming back on himself, so he'll have the slipstream going down sector 2 and 3 with the tighter corners of this track, if you can call them tighter, on Watkins Glen. But this is where the Porsche will start being a bit more competitive compared to the BMW.
But aren't there just some wonderful corners on this amazing circuit here in Upper New York State? It was, would you believe it was racing at Watkins Glen was the brainchild of a law student, not a lawyer, a law student. Normally a lawyer, they've got lots of money, but law student, a man called Cameron Argetsinger, who thought it would be a good idea to start road racing here all the way back in 1948, and had the first Grand Prix within the Formula One World Championship in America in 1961, which of course was won by Innes Ireland. And home to the 6 Hours of the Glen, a real classic on the endurance racing calendar, which is coming up in the next couple of weeks. And I'm not bitter, but I did have tickets to go to last year's Watkins Glen 6 Hour, and well, we all know what happened.
I don't know, Pete. What happened?
I didn't get to go. Apparently, some people had a cough,
that would have been good to watch.
Yeah, and I thought, we'll get to go next year. Roll the tickets forward. Oh
yeah. Same again.
Oh dear, same again. Maybe next year, eh?
Hey, maybe. Who knows? If another variant doesn't come out, it's lovely. But no, so we're getting to the latter stages. We've got 8 minutes, 7 minutes left of this race. So probably about another 5 or 6 laps left of this race. We've got Penny Rose, and he's obviously stretching his lead a bit more, 6.7 seconds. 9.4 is Bondell behind him, and Gaten Anger fifth is 6 seconds behind Bondell. So they're all quite stretched out from first to fourth. In the AMs, you've got Joan Mateo Craella. Let's see how my pronunciation is. In first place, you've got Josh Wiggins second, and Dave Erdin in third place, where Tom Bingham seems to be going down. He was in fifth place at one point. He's now in 8th place. So starting to lose a bit of ground on the guys. Maybe some tyre wears coming into play in this last 10 minutes.
Dave Erden on screen now, the Super Swiss for Team Slippery Bananas. So obviously a man with plenty of Mario Kart experience, clearly. And what has happened to Josh Wiggins here, Andy?
After have a look coming down into the chute. I think my screen's having a bit of a IT failure here. I'm not sure what's happening.
Likewise. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Can't have been something good. You know, for a replay, it's normally bad, unfortunately. So that's not good. Now here, you're right. Tom Bingham has dropped back a couple of spots from his earlier position. He was fighting for that lead earlier on, and I actually thought we were completely washed out of Audis. Actually, I thought everyone had reached them, but no, we do have an Audi left, which is the car of 234 car Carrier. So still Ingolstadt machines out there. Again, of course, uses the same engine as the Lamborghini, a 5.2 V10, which is used within that group, but the car very much independently developed from the Huracan.
Yeah, so obviously you can see Tom on the back now. We'll see if he can get the slipstream and what the Porsche fares against the Audi going down the main straight on the start finish of Watkins Glen to see if he can get some sort of slipstream effect down here. But it seems to be sort of neutralised at the moment. It's not that efficient. So the Audi must have a little bit more grunt than the Porsche on the straight, but that's very similar to the BM, probably the Audi. In straight line speed, so it'll stick on his back coming up here because he will have the slipstream, and maybe he'll make a slight lunge going down into the inner loop, but it seems to be closing on him, so he had a better run up the S's there. Let's see if Tom takes him on the inside. Oh yes, here he goes. He's going to go for the move. Unfortunately, kept it clean though. Great racing, guys. Unfortunately, didn't make it on there. Obviously, cut too much speed going on the outside, yeah. So keep it going, Tom. That's what I can say.
that was good because it doesn't really show up on camera there. It's so narrow going through there and so fast. You're going from top gear back a couple of gears, chucking it in and hoping you pick the right line and hoping for the best in some cases, especially when you've got a driver alongside. Oh, it's Aaron Smith and Jason Hodgson having a right old ding-dong here, all Lamborghini ding-dong. More Lamborghinis here than there is in Sloane Square. Smith, Hodgson. Now, I think the car third in pack there is a lap down. I think that could be I think that's actually the Logitech Altus Esports car of Luke McCone, who has kept going after that crash earlier on. So towed back to pit lane, got his repairs, and great to see him carrying on. And he is super fast, is Luke McCone. So great to see that tenacity to keep going. And just as I say that, it appears he might have just disconnected.
Yeah. Oh no, there we go.
Oh, he's back again. Oh no, it's Fernando. It's Fernando Torres in a very similarly painted car. That's what's caught us out there.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's great to see the cars this close race. You know, nearly an hour into the race, and nose to tail action on these cars. It's good. I know it's a lot about the setup, but it's also about the driver skill. And you know, these leagues produce you sort of up your game when you come into these leagues, because obviously during the normal iRacing you get the opportunistic yeeters that I call them. But certainly in this, it's like a different game now, and everybody ups their game. It's really clean racing, a lot of respect from the drivers from each other, which is really good to see on track, and it makes for some really exciting racing wheel to wheel.
Certainly has been good tonight, that's for sure. The whole suite of cars from all over the world, Lamborghinis, Porsches, Ferraris, Audis, Mercedes, whatever your flavour is, we have it here in the ARL GT trophy. So Kenny Rosen's still your leader, but Jonathan Goulet having a look. Oh, looking to squeeze past the number 126 of Brandt and gets the move done. So good stuff there from the Belgian. It's been a quiet day for Antonio Piesi, who's of course on the podium in the first round of the season in an Audi, and he's made the switch to the Porsche, has the Portuguese.
Yeah, I think it's taken probably taken him a couple of rounds to properly get used to the car. Although it does seem quite competitive. It's like whenever you get a new toy, it takes you a little while to get used to it, and then you sort of master it and understand its little quirks. So as it's a new car on iRacing, I would expect them to be getting faster as the season progresses. And obviously next round we've got the brand new circuit on iRacing, which is the Red Bull Ring, which I think a lot of the drivers are looking forward to.
I bet you the BMWs are looking forward to that, because it's a bit of a drag strip. It's the Red Bull Ring, lots of long straights or two very long straights. It's completely dominated by Ducati in the motorcycle world, because they have the fastest bike in a straight line. So all things point towards it being a very good day for the BMW. Maybe the Ferraris might come back a little bit as well. They're normally pretty good in a straight line as well. So that should be fun. Great to see a new circuit in the championship. And I have to say, the iRacing software team from a distance have done an amazing job with the visuals on the Red Bull Ring, with of course the bronze bull in the middle of the track, very painstakingly recreated as well. So the 60-minute time has elapsed. Where is our leader on track? The number 133 of Kenny Rosen's now coming down into the heel of the boot for the final time. It has been an imperious drive from the Belgian. We knew that if his luck came together, he would be a really formidable threat, and that has turned out to be so. Enjoying a lead of nearly 10 seconds over Sven Newman. So Kenny Rosens then comes around the final corner, and he will be your winner at the Glen. The checkered flag is in the air. Kenny Rosens wins here at Watkins Glen. We wait now and with the fastest lap on the final lap. Fantastic stuff from Rosens. And Newman comes over the line. He's pleased with that, flashes the lights in true BMW style, and Amaury Bondwell completes the podium with, well, Andy, there he is, skating anger. He just doesn't give up, does he?
No, he's always going to be in the top 10, and obviously again profiting from some others. So as we can see here, we got Taboni in 5th, Penn, obviously the one you were not biased about, in 6th in the Porsche, and the fellow Scotsman. Raf, can't even pronounce that name in 7th. Raffinu? I'll go with that one. 8th place Colinu, 6th, 9th is Stix, 10th is Dadwell, 11th Winkler, 12th Palsch, 13th Poulet, 14th Brandt, 15th Haycock, 16th Schneider, 17th Pile, like you said, a bit of a quiet round for him really, I think, Peter.
Yeah, indeed. I just noticed there Danny Lee missing his front bonnet on his Mercedes. That's not good. Wonder what was going on there. Josh Wiggins comes over the line.
Obviously trying to get a bit of extra cooling, I think, Peter.
Well, you've got a lot of engine to cool down, that is for sure. Yeah, 6.2 litres of it. That is big displacement at its best. Isn't it amazing that they wedged that engine into a C-Class?
I know, it's a lot of engine, but you look at the size of that bonnet, it's quite long.
It is. You've definitely got more room for it, and you can get it down a bit lower as well. I tell you what, the convertible version of that car looks absolutely glorious. Very, very nice indeed. Well, we're just waiting for our last couple of cars, as there's Pedrero screams over the line in his wailing 4-litre flat six Porsche. I think that is all of our drivers complete. So let's have a look at our results then for the 60-minute sprint race here at Watkins Glen in the Apex Racing League GT Trophy. Kenny Rosen's then your winner by 8.6 seconds from Sven Newman, who splits up the Valkyrie Esports BMWs, with Amaury Bondwell finishing in the podium in third. Gaten Anger was the first of the non-BMWs in his Lamborghini Huracan, finishing in fourth, profiting from a few cars going off in front, but always there, always picking up the scraps is Gaten Anger and keeping himself in championship contention. Brandon Taboni was fifth, followed by Leon Penn, Richard Gavencu, Corentin Collignon, Pascal Stix, and Tom Dadswell rounds out your top 10. Carl Winkler was 11th, followed by Mick Palich, Jonathan Poulet, Callum Brandt, Hugh Haycox, and Baptiste Schneider rounding out the first 16, with Antonio Piesi, Dominic Engel, Danny Lee, and Dean Powell rounding out the top 20. Juan Manuel Calleja was your AM class winner in 21st, just 4 seconds up the road from Josh Wiggins. Dave Erden was 23rd and third in the AM class, followed by Hakan Grebstad, Peter Siktar, Aaron Smith, Jason Hodgson, Tom Bingham, and Alan Carrigier rounding out your top 30. No, my apologies, that's Paul Robson. Dennis Meisner was 31st, followed by Gavin Russell, Yuri Pippin Evers, Phil Reagan, Andrew Bremer, Fernando Torres, Steve Brown, Dan Murray, Guillem Esoltani, and Angel Pedrero rounds out the top 40. And last few, Alan Hart, Luke McCohen, Nolan Lemery, JB Rasmussen, Leandro Anderuti, Thomas Arens, Vivian Dabert, and Maxime Marie round out 48 car grid. That is what the ARL GT Trophy is all about. Andy, your thoughts on that race? Speechless. Well,
sorry about that, bit of IT issues there. Kenny Roosens, I think from start to finish, led that Imperius. He did have some fortunate with second and third getting tangled up, but take nothing away from him. I thought he had an excellent drive. I thought as well, Josh Wiggins, 25 places up the grid to get second place in the AM, so a really good day at the office for Kenny as well. But overall, some great racing, absolutely exceptional track. I always love watching these races. And I'm going to be driving in one on Friday, so I can't wait.
Well, I tell you what then, Andrew, we have Kenny Rosen in our interview waiting area, so I will hand him over to you, and you can ask him for some tips.
Yeah, why not? Let's have a go. Hi, Kenny. Welcome to the commentary room. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, what can we say about that drive? Start to finish, led the race. A little bit fortunate with the second and third having an incident, but even taking that into consideration, a great drive today. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was a good race. It was kind of hard at the beginning of the race to pull away from Sven. Then I think I slowed down a bit to get my tire fresh, and I start pushing again 2 laps later. And then Sven was just, I think he made a mistake, and then when he was out of draft, I was like 2 or 3 times faster every lap, so it was just a question of not doing any mistake and being consistent until the end.
Yeah, and that was definitely, you were actually starting to pull away from Sven there at the end. Did the back markers come into play for you at the end there, that you were able to pull away, or was it you just felt that you had the more natural speed going in, as we saw you put the fastest lap in on the very last lap of the race?
Well, I think I lost a bit of time with the back markers, Sven as well, Amaury as well, and it's part of the game, so we all lose a bit of time. Maybe I lose more, they lose more, I have no idea. But yeah, I think I was definitely faster, so yeah, they didn't really help me, it was kind of the same for us, so yeah.
So it seemed like you had all the bases covered today. So next week we've got the Red Bull Ring. How are you looking forward to that track?
Sadly, we will be in holidays with Amaury for my birthday, so I won't be racing. But for sure, I will watch the race.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I think it'd be an excellent track, and certainly for the BM, because it seems to be loving these long, open, and fast-tracked races, as we saw today, with the dominance in the top half of the grid being predominantly BMW cars. Do you find that the BMW is the fastest car at the moment in the GT entourage?
Well, I don't think so. For example, we are doing the SEO pre-qualification right now, and at Spa we are like way slower than the Porsche and the Lamborghini. So I think it depends the track, but the BOP seems quite good because yeah, it really depends the track. Yeah, for sure. I think at Watkins Glen, the best option was the BMW or maybe the Porsche. But yeah, for sure it was better than the four other cars.
Yeah, certainly in this track, it seemed to be very dominant, the BMW, with 10 of the top 12 being BMW cars. So a great day there, and an excellent round for you, Kenny. So it puts you squarely in the firing line of everyone behind you within the championship. Are you feeling the pressure yet, or is it still early days?
I don't know. I mean, it's still quite early because I will be missing next round. But yeah, I think with my pace, I can definitely playing for the title, even if I won't be present for the next one. But yeah, we will see how it goes because if I made one mistake during any race and I crash, then I think it will be over. Because yeah, when you won, it's always 50 points, and Gaetan has been pretty consistent since the beginning of the season. So yeah, we will see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, well, obviously you get the one drop round, so it's not the end of the world as long as you keep it clean and finish all the rest of the rounds. You can take that as a. Thank you for joining us in the commentary booth. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, big shout out to Amory and Quarantine who made a good race, and to Team Valkyrie Sport and our partnership, Francorchamps Miniature, and thanks to us for the great show. Thanks to you, sorry.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Kenny. And obviously, we won't see you next week, so we'll give someone else the podium place. But look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. So,
yeah.
Congratulations today, Kenny.
Yeah, thank you. See you.
Thank you. Well, there we go, Peter. That was Kenny there. He seemed very humble in winning what was a sublime race that he had in this Watkins Glen.
Yeah, he really was in control right from the get-go. Put it on pole, cleared off and controlled the race, and that's hard to do consistently, especially at such a tough circuit like Watkins Glen. 60 minutes on the limit. Very, very well deserved win indeed from Kenny Rosens. Well, that is all we have time for tonight here on Apex Racing TV. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast of the Apex Racing League GT Trophy. On behalf of Andrew Thompson and myself, Peter Mackay, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.